Good morning and welcome to this live broadcast. I had no intentions of doing such a broadcast until a few minutes ago when I was guided by my heart and also guided from the emails that I received yesterday from beautiful light workers, those who've surrendered their heart to God, who are feeling so battle weary. Many have become so disillusioned with their church, be it Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh. They feel that the control is alienating them with all the rules and regulations from their heart and from loving their God. But you know, I just glanced at our reading for today, and we read in St. Paul's letter to the Hebrews, chapter 3, verse 13. Wait for it. Every day, as long as this today lasts, keep on encouraging one another. But how can you encourage another when you're down in the dumps, when you're going through a difficult time, and when you feel that every onslaught has been thrown at you? You feel vulnerable, fractious, sometimes unable to cope, and you feel that the spiritual journey is a joke a minute. And you ask yourself, well, where is Jesus in all of this? But let's be honest, he did say, I never said it would be easy. But what he does say is he said, I will never leave you. I'm going to read to you a series of 4 short reflections from a beautiful little Christian booklet, the UCB. And the theme is staying power. And we need staying power in service to God, to Allah, to Jehovah, to the I am presence of God. I need staying power. Because more often than not, I too feel the struggles of living the simple life, the monastic life, where an energy comes in that's counterproductive to God's energy and really does trip me up. And the hard thing is it's getting up again. And the longer you've lived this life, the more difficult it can become. But we bless it, we release it, and we hand it over to God. Let's begin with the first reflection. And this first reflection comes from the letter of St. Paul to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed. Here's a saying that has proven to be true. What doesn't destroy us makes us stronger. And here are 4 sayings that have proved to be false. The first, when you become a Christian, all problems are over. Whoever told you that didn't get it from Scripture. Paul said, we are hard pressed on every side, but we are not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. All the problems you'll ever encounter are addressed in the Holy Bible. God tells us many things in His Word, but He still requires us to walk by faith, not by sight. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7, we read, that means receiving guidance from His Word, from the promptings of the Holy Spirit, and from the counsel of godly friends, good friends. If you are having problems, you must be unspiritual. The opposite is true. Satan's attack is proof that you haven't been conquered, that you represent a threat to the kingdom of darkness, and that you're doing the will of God. And the greater the attack, wait for it, the greater the level of blessing that awaits you beyond it. So keep going. Being exposed to sound Bible teaching automatically solves every problem. It will certainly help you solve your problems, but it won't solve them for you. You must be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. See James 1 verse 23. But Paul writes, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on all of God's armor so that you will be able to stand firm against all the strategies and tricks of the evil one. In other words, you need staying power. Let's reflect on the second reflection. In John 16 verse 33 of the New Testament Bible we read, here on earth you will have many trials. How true. Two more reasons you need to develop staying power are: one, it overcomes prolonged illness. When sickness saps your physical, emotional, and mental strength, that's when you need staying power. The Bible says the strong spirit of a man or woman sustains him in bodily pain or trouble. But a weak and broken spirit, who can raise up or bear? Charles Spurgeon was known to multitudes as the Prince of Preachers. His ministry impacted London and much of the British Isles. Yet he was so sick that he had to spend a lot of his time resting in southern France. His wife, who became an invalid after the birth of their twin sons, transcended her physical limitations with staying power. Though paralyzed, she directed from her bed an unprecedented book distribution effort. And it's largely because of her staying power that Spurgeon's books are on the shelves today, so that more people around the world can access these books, including ministers. And two, it overcomes financial difficulties and limitations. George Muller, who founded Homes for Orphans in Bristol, is a prime example of staying power. He saved the lives of thousands of children, and he did it by faith. Many times he didn't have the money to buy food for the next meal, but he never complained. Instead, he prayed, and in response to his faith, money poured in from all over the world, much of it from people he never knew. Muller lived by the scriptural principle, never be lacking in zeal, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor and serve the Lord. Be joyful in hope, be patient in affliction, faithful in prayer, a favorite saying of St. Paul. And the third reflection on staying power. In Numbers 12 verse 1 we read, Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses. Staying power overcomes family opposition. When Moses' sister Miriam and his brother Aaron complained about his relationship with God, Moses remained gentle and humble in the face of their opposition. When faced with the challenge to fold up or hold up, David Livingstone demonstrated staying power. His wife Mary gave him so much trouble, always complaining and criticizing, that she made his life's work almost impossible. That tension between them became so great that Livingstone sent her home to England for a period of more than 12 years, while he suffered, bled, and ultimately died in Africa for the cause of Christ. My word. And when Jesus went home to Nazareth to minister to his people, he grew up around. Some of them tried to throw him off a cliff, and in spite of his teachings and miracles, his family thought he was mad, just like mine. My family are convinced that I'm a Satanist because I embrace all faiths. How sad. Did that hurt him? Of course it did. But he didn't let it stop him. He said, anyone who wants to be a follower, to be my follower, must love me far more than he does his own father, mother, or wife, children, brothers, or sisters. Yes, more than his own life. Now there's a challenge. Otherwise he cannot be my disciple. And no one can be my disciple who does not carry his own cross and follow me. Don't begin until you first count the cost. Luke 14, verse 26 to 28. And when your family opposes you, love them and pray for them, because God can change their hearts. And until he does, keep serving him. Oh, that really rings home to me, because my family have made my life somewhat traumatic at times by putting me on the internet as a scammer, an evil person, sacked from nursing for sleeping with patients, sacked from the monastery for sleeping with monks. If I should be so lucky, lucky, that's a song. So why would they do such a thing to their brother who's living a simple life? I guess I'm a threat to them, because they live a very different life to me. I'm not saying they live a better or lesser life, but they've chosen to make money, well, not through lawful means, I since discovered. And I guess their eldest brother who's living this simple life, they see me probably as a mirrored image of themselves. But I pray for them, and I love them, but I don't like what they do. And the final nugget of staying power. In Genesis 37 verse 5 we read, Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers, they hated him. Is that where you are in your journey today? When you've shared your dream to become a monastic of our community, say, and your family are up in arms, but it's not Catholic, it's not Jewish, it's not Hindu, it's not Muslim. Oh, yaidi, Mazel Tov, hello. You paid the price, trust me. Staying power overcomes misunderstanding and rejection. Sometimes the people you count on to support you will actually try to undercut you. And when God gives you a vision too big for them to handle, they'll say you're getting too big for your boots. And they'll try to cut you down to size. Their size. Their size. Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery, then went home and told their father he'd been killed by a wild beast. Can you imagine how Joseph felt when someone asked, tell me about your family? I feel the same today. I feel embarrassed talking about my family, because I came from a dysfunctional Catholic family in Ireland, where fear and guilt and shambolic behaviour was the run of the day. Yes, I do feel ashamed. And I hand that over to God. General Dwight D. Eisenhower said, there are no victories at bargain prices. And sadly, betrayal happens as often in church as in secular society, and I've seen that too. I've seen monks destroy one another. I've witnessed in convents where nuns were tearing one another apart through the frustration of having to live with someone that gets right up their nostrils. I've seen superiors do it to young novices and young monastics. Trust me. And I've seen bishops do it to brother bishops. And you end up counseling them and acting as a mediator. Oh, I should write that book, but I won't, out of respect for the people I love. And sadly, betrayal happens as often in church as in secular society. When Charles Spurgeon was in his early 20s, such large crowds came to his church that the building couldn't accommodate them. So he met with 30 of his church leaders and suggested they build an auditorium that would hold about 5,500 people. Allegedly, he told them that if any of the people doubted the possibility of accomplishing this, guess what? They should leave. And 23 did, but Spurgeon held true to the vision God had given him. He had the stickability to see it through, and for over 35 years, crowds packed the Metropolitan Tabernacle morning and night, making it one of the most influential churches in history. Got any rivers you think are uncrossable, got any mountains you can't tunnel through. God specializes in things thought impossible, and he can do just what no other can do. Now, Let me share with you something about me. In 2006, I was running a 2-day workshop empowering a group of 12 amazing therapists to embrace the Christ energy. And on day 2, during the meditation or after the meditation, one of the group shared that Mother Teresa of Calcutta came to her, and Lord Kutumi, an incarnation of St. Francis of Assisi, and said, "Embrace all faiths, welcome them in your midst." Well, I was outside having a quick cigarette because I was exhausted after the meditation, and Sister Teresa came running out and said, "We've had a message from Lord Kutumi." And I went, "Who is Lord Kutumi?" And she ran back in again and came out again, and she said, "St. Francis of Assisi." Well, I flew in. When I heard the message, I felt very privileged. But over the 2 years of those 12 who said they were committed to it, they drifted because they couldn't see anything happening. Even in 2007, we had our first trustees meeting, and a friend, I thought was a friend, came from another charity. And with our 5 trustees present, including Sister Teresa and myself, she said to the trustees, "I have a problem with the name Francis." And the trustees looked at her and they said, "But why?" "Because it conjures up a poverty mindset." So she said, "You should really have a vote." And they voted to remove the name Francis. That was the evil one who came in to destroy God's vision. And in 2008, whilst at a wedding in Florence in Assisi, in Italy, I was guided late in the hours of Sunday night, Monday morning, to take the first train from Florence to Assisi, which I did with Brother Rob. And when I got there, I thought, "Oh God, I can't cope with this." There were so many coaches and thousands of people, and there were masses going on everywhere, and it was just like a conveyor belt, full of religion but no spirituality. And I thought, "Get me out of here." I could feel myself panicking. But then something said, "Look for the door at the bottom of the stairs." Well, I looked everywhere. And as I was coming out of the basilica, there it was on the right-hand side. I went down the stairs. I opened this crotchety old door, hundreds of years old. And there before me was the sarcophagus with St. Francis of Assisi buried in it. I don't remember much else because I fell down on my knees and I wept. I felt I'd come home. After many years in the wilderness, having left the monastery because of mental health issues and the brutality of some of the superiors to us as young monks in training as nurses, where we lost over 200 young monks. We'd all been treated quite appallingly, and there was a lot of jealousy with other monks who hadn't trained as nurses, and but we blessed them. And I remember as part of that time kneeling before Francis, Jesus speaking to my heart, not my ego. Embrace all faiths like Francis and welcome them into a new community, the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans. And I thought, oh my God, I'll pay the price for this. And I did. But Jesus gave me the strength to persevere, and with the support of a few good friends, with Sister Teresa, Mother Olivia, with Brother Murray and Brother Rob, Sister Laura, who were dear friends, who upheld the vision with us. And even my own Catholic bishop in the Diocese of Lancaster wouldn't renew my vows for life as a member of the Teo community, because the diocese didn't own the community. And that was a tough one. That was a real heart-wrenching experience, to be told that your own bishop didn't want to know you. So the Christian Church took umbrage with the community as a Franciscan community to embrace all faiths. Why? Because they're all children of the same God, and that we're not to sit in judgment on another, but to embrace them in love. I came away from Assisi fired up with so much love for Christ, and he said, "You will suffer for this, but walk the solitary path. Don't abandon your church. Send it love, light, and blessing. from the outside because it needs it, because it's corrupt. It's corrupt, and its followers, their hearts are closed. Even as cardinals, bishops, priests, and religious, their hearts are closed. Not all, but most hearts are closed, and they've become people of the world. They've lost the essence of prayer. They're closed to the voice of the God. So I walked the solitary path, and I've been walking it ever since. And we were told that the Lord would provide the Franclara Abbey of Peace and Compassion, that's Francis and Clare, Franclara, where 12 men and women would come together to live as monastics, some as hermits. They would be self-sufficient in an eco-sustainable community. So what do we need? Staying power. It's there. We're now manifesting it in love, and we're trusting, but we need staying power. Like you, we need to have this power of God to keep us grounded and rooted and not abandon our prayer. As a Catholic Christian, I feel so privileged to be able to meet Christ in others who have no faith. But I know intuitively and instinctively there's times when I want to sit in judgment, but immediately I say no. But I'm aware that my Christian brothers and sisters, excuse me, in various parts of the Christian world or in Christian communities do sit in judgment on others by their lifestyle choice, if they're gay, lesbian or transgendered, alcoholic or drug addicts or prisoners. They actually sit in judgment and they say it's God's will to do this. Well, it's not. Our role as Franciscans is not to live to the rigorous rule of life that I lived by as a young nursing monk in a Catholic order. Our rule of life is to be drawn up by us. And the emphasis on our journey is to be a people of prayer. So we dedicate our lives for global interspiritual unity and peace. We may never see the results of our prayer, but we take the words of Jesus and we go into our room, we shut the door, and we seek out our Father, Mother God, and we are still. And that takes staying power. It takes a person of real courage today to be able to live this simple life, but it's a life of freedom. There are no archaic rules. We don't subscribe to one religion at the expense of hurting another. We embrace through love all faiths, and we welcome all faiths because they are all equal in the eyes of God. A God who has many names, and this I know might upset you if you're a devout Catholic Christian, but we're not here to serve ourselves and our ego. And that's why Jesus and Mother Mary are talking to ordinary people today. They're choosing to speak to ordinary people, men and women and children, because their hearts are open to God and they have the staying power. Unlike those devoted men and women who've given years of service and sacrifice to God, but their hearts are closed. As Gandhi said, and then I finish, I like your Christ, but not your Christians, because your Christians are not like your Christ. So to repeat what we started off with from Hebrews, every day as long as you live this day, keep encouraging one another. Today is the miracle, yesterday's history, tomorrow's mystery. Take a deep breath, and when you come to your morning prayer in the morning, put aside all the books and just say to Jesus, Lord, I come that I may know your will and that you will give me the strength to do what you are asking of me. That is our purpose on earth. We're passing through. This is not our home. I've never felt I belonged here on earth from the moment I left the crib. I never felt I belonged, but now I do, because I'm in service to a loving God who does provide for all my needs. Why don't you try it? You probably have everything the world can give you: prestige, accolades, status, beautiful home, nice clothes. Hello, but are you happy inside? Or are you living in a loveless life, a loveless marriage or relationship? Take responsibility today. Reclaim who you are as a child of God. And be free. Be free to love and to serve. Come and join us. We don't ask you to convert. We ask you to stay as you are, but just surrender your heart. You don't have to leave your family and friends to join our monastery, because wherever we live, that is our monastery, without walls. I want you to take care, and I want you to know that all Jesus asks of you and me is to hold firm to his promise that he will never leave us. And all he's asking is to have some staying power and to bless everything, the negative, the positive, the heartache, the pain, the suffering, the rejection, to bless it and release it to God in a mindset of gratitude. God bless you. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah paxet bonum om shanti. Solo di caritas. Salam alaikum. And may the peace of your God reawaken your heart today to the I am presence of God already within you. You were born with God within you. Embrace God. Be happy. Be fulfilled. I promise you, the moment you surrender your heart to God is the very moment that you will behold, enfold, and hold the very essence of God. That's God's gift to you. Until we meet again, take care.